Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, let me start out by saying that I apologize to any of you if this video seems to be triggering in one way or another. I know a lot of people have some very mixed and strong opinions and feelings about this subject and this matter, and I understand that. And just as kind of a fair warning, to get that out of the way, just to go ahead and tell you that I will be talking about things that are very sensitive, sexual abuse, stuff like that. Not of me, but of allegations that are coming up in the media. So if you don't want to watch, please tune out now if that kind of thing is very sensitive for you, or you have a lot of deep emotions about that. And we're going to be talking about somebody who is notably, or arguably one of the most famous people, if not the most famous person on the planet, Michael Jackson, who is dead, of course, passed away a while back. And now Ethan Klein from H3H3 Productions made me aware of this morning. I haven't heard about it. I haven't been keeping tabs on it. I was completely unaware of the new documentary series Leaving Neverland that came out. Apparently a three-part series, apparently very, very, very transformative, or at least very impactful to the degree that we're already seeing radio stations in at least New Zealand and Canada apparently dropping Michael Jackson songs, pulling the songs off the radio, stuff like that. And to be honest with you, it is just not only heartbreaking but challenging as a very, very big Michael Jackson fan. And of course, an admirer, as millions, if not billions, of people are. Arguably, it's harder to witness, or it's hard to fathom his popularity and his impact on society in general through his arts and his works, and just how hurtful, or just how fucked up things like this can be. Especially with somebody who's been in our culture, if not world culture, for fucking years. But this is not the first time we've heard about these things. This is, of course, something that has been going on through almost the entirety of Jackson's career, I would dare say, considering that he entered the industry at a very young age and stuff like that. But the real height of Jackson mania back in the day, at least, these things have been floating around and going on. It's weird to talk about because it's like, really, unlike Bill Cosby, it's something that just came out of nowhere. This is something that has been discussed for a very, very long time. There's been trials. There's been, witnesses coming forward. It's happened several times, and it just kept coming up through the history of his works and his career. And, at least when he was older and started to climb, like I said, and really blow up, things started to come out. And it's like I said, just, completely just hard to fathom and comprehend, considering that I've been hearing about this since I was a kid. And I'm 36 years old now, and I've been hearing about this since I was a little kid. And this has been in my life since I was a little kid, these allegations and everything like that. Which, to be honest with you right now, I was a Michael Jackson defender for the longest time, and for as of right now, I still am. But I'm not discrediting this documentary because I haven't seen it and watched it. But apparently, the fallout is clear. I trust Ethan Klein and his judgment. I trust his feelings on things. I trust that the massive vocalization of what this documentary uncovers is true. I mean, it's and there, let me explain why I was a defender of Michael Jackson, because every time, at least in the public eye, and that's kind of a problem overall with these cases, is like, you don't get the full story, the full weight of the evidence. You don't get things like that. I mean, I guess the media machine takes over and then starts to discredit witnesses or evidence, and buries it, and then uses public opinion to dismantle victims of these crimes. And it's like, back in the day, I remember the trials and everything coming out of it, and I remember all the propaganda that came afterwards and talking about, basically discrediting the victims in any way possible, in any way, shape, and form. And obviously it worked, because I never was completely convinced that something, illegal or wrong happened. And that's the problem, is like with things like this, is that shit's just left so amorphous, and the media control and regulation over these cases can sway it, completely and solely to the celebrities, liking. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't ask for forgiveness in being a Michael Jackson defender, but in the same turn, it's like you have to understand that for somebody coming from my perspective, it's like I don't have all the evidence, and from everything I'm hearing from trusted officials, keyword here, trusted officials, the police and other people, it's like that there was no case. The case was shaky. The case was not. And the courts, the highest courts of the land exonerate the man. They let him go, and they let him free. And what can you do? Really, what can you feel? And I know it's a case by case basis, and it's just, the coincidences and everything surrounding the things that was happening at the time just seemed so sketchy and questionable. And also the vast majority of, the sheer numbers seemed to not add up, because it was like a vast majority of people, children coming to Neverland, and, out of all those kids, only these certain victims would come forward, at least what we were told, and have stories and stuff like that, which were after the fact. And it seemed like, the families at the time were just seeking financial compensation and dressing up something based off of allegations that had happened before. Which that was the feeling. I don't know about the rest of you, but at least that was the feeling that was always pumped in my head. That was the thing that was always kind of pumped in our heads growing up, or at least through the timeline of these events. And I'm leaving a huge amount of room now for the documentary whenever I get to see it. And I think, coming to it with an open mind and a fresh perspective, and setting aside what he did as an artist, to see it as, what it is, and see the evidence, and hear the stories, and then reserve to make a judgment. But that's the whole danger of these things in general, and that's the whole things we're figuring out as a society right now, is that anything can be skewed and put into a perspective of whatever you want it to be, depending on how you come into the media, or how you come into viewing it, or something like that, with a pre-assumption of guilt or innocence. And, it's hard to come in with an open mind and try to see it clearly and put everything in perspective, especially of such a long history of possible predation or abuse or whatever. It's just kind of like with R. Kelly right now. It's like, R. Kelly's completely different for me, because I feel like there's been plenty of evidence and plenty of things, blatant evidence, to show what the man has done and what he continues to do, or continued to do, over time. And that was more proof than anything, because the suppression of Michael Jackson's supposed crimes or alleged crimes was more amorphous. It wasn't as clear and blatant, where with R. Kelly there was video proof. There was one of the young women actually had video phone calls to her family where they were screaming at the media and police and agencies to help, when for all rights and, for all intents and purposes, this girl was being kind of like brainwashed and held against her will at R. Kelly's estate and stuff like that. I don't, but as of right now, apparently people are just having a huge backlash, attacking it, defending Jackson to, tooth and nail, discrediting everything they've seen in it as well. But there's a large majority of people who are like, yeah, this is fucked up, and this seems legitimate and true, and how the shit went down. So, and I'm not trying to cash in on this. I'm just trying to offer my opinion as a person who, and try to explain it clearly. Sorry if I'm not, coherent during all this, but just as my perspective as a fan, and just especially with something like this, once again, that has been pretty much a large majority of my life, I've been hearing about this shit. and to kind of have this supposed, apparent death knell into his legacy now, is just kind of fucked up. It's kind of weird, and it's just like brings up the questions to me too that I may do another video about later. And the same things I said about Cosby is like where, we put and lock up the people who are doing this, but where are the indictments and the repercussions for the people surrounding them and the people who've enabled this behavior and covered up this behavior furthermore and paid off things? Where's co-conspirator charges and stuff like that? Where's indictments and lockups of the people who were involved? Once again, going back to Bill Cosby, I mean, even somebody like, Roseanne Barr came out and said that there was like, for years, nobody spoke about it, but it was just allegations and rumors and shit that people blatantly knew in some regards about Bill Cosby. But we never heard it. Nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever said a damn word. And it's like, it's well and fine that we locked up R. Kelly, but where are all the people surrounding, R. Kelly? Where are all the people who were surrounding Michael Jackson and enabling these behaviors and covering his ass and covering Bill Cosby's ass for that matter? Like, why are there no indictments for them? Why are there no criminal charges against them? Managers, handlers, whoever the fuck was covering this shit up night and day, because that's beyond all this, is for all intents and purposes, beyond all the crimes of these people, there's people covering it up who know about these crimes, who are concealing it from the public view, middlemen who are washing the system to where you never see this side, you never see the blatant proof and evidence. But I guess that's for another time. I guess we're content with one lamb to the slaughter, or whatever. But we never asked where the hell are all these other people? Where's their accountability? Where's their criminal prosecution? But anyways, that's it. And I mean, it goes to show you once again too how much this system of justice and or criminal prosecution can be skewed to the rich and the famous. How much money will get you in this country to absolve you of crimes and to basically allow you to do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's another thing that we need to discuss more as a nation, and to start, figuring out the money equaling to, complete absolution from the law. The same law that all the rest of us have to abide by and adhere to, and just the broken criminal justice system in America, period. So anyways, and corrupt criminal justice system furthermore. So I'll see you guys later. Sorry for the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.